Like, don't at me.
Don't at me. Goddamn. Don't at me. Don't at me.
I'm down to do like just freestyle open speech after
Yeah,
the
let's
docket.
do that. Let's do it like that.
Yeah,
like,
after the docket,
Back
music, if
with
y'all
Alan,
go down.
man.
Nah,
We
yeah.
ain't been
down,
with
you
Alan
know.
since like January or some shit.
Huh? Yeah. That's
Something
the
like
last
that,
time
yeah.
I was on, like January, February.
We did the Jack Boys listen
it was
party.
05,
Yeah.
06, back to whatever Mike was talking about. It was 05 summer.
Wait, let's try to like kind of frame this up so like the people kind of.
Oh yeah, I forgot we were rolling. So,
Don't at me. Episode 42, little bit of a preamble, new intro. I know you guys heard that. Y'all are like, wait, they canceled out two bruhs and got two other guys. Nah, we just got Gerry said. Well, Gerry always says he's gonna come on, and then like maybe he will, maybe. And then Jock's actually got something he's getting to today, but we got two guests, Alan and Paco. Alan, we were just talking about how
Alan really not a guest though.
He's a crispy boy. Alan's a crispy boy.
Alan a crispy boy.
I'm a recurring guest star.
Yeah, you're like you know how like when they would do like In Living Color and they would say starring, and then at the end they would say like featuring. Like these are the people that are on the cast, but like they just can't always commit to being on because they're like recorded movies and shit too, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's basically Alan's shit, like featuring.
Pretty much.
A star feature.
Star feature. We did the Jack Boys listen party.
Oh, but look, put it like this.
And
Alan's friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod, yeah.
That
And
works.
then the I forget what episode it was, but we always come back to like that was like one of our best episodes when we were on there. Which one was that?
That was the Jack Boys album review.
But there was one we did after that though. We recorded two, I think.
That was at the top of the year, right?
It was a good one. I forget which
It
one
was
it
just
was.
a don't at me.
I don't know what.
like-
I
Oh,
don't know
Gang
what
Back in the
episode it
Stew. I think we called
Yeah,
it
yeah.
Back in the
was. It
Stew.
was like January 2nd or some shit like that when we
Yeah.
recorded it. It was
Yeah.
right after New Year's and shit. 'Cause it
We
was
were
right
so
after our stand up.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
so hyped
Oh,
up.
that was the
Like,
Jack Boys review, right?
Year 2020 is gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Hey, actually though, to tell you the truth, on a note that we can continue and shit, we continue with the intro, but on that note though, this actually year has became awesome, and we'll
It's
get
been like a very big year, yeah, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But
We'll
it's a
come
lot
back
of
to that,
shit.
though. You're right. That's a good one.
You the intro, man. Top
Yeah.
6
So
shit.
hey, we also got Paco on.
What up?
Got to introduce
What's
our
up,
guy
bro?
Paco. So Paco's a friend of the pod. He is it's always tricky like explaining how do you know them. It's like, oh well, our girlfriends knew each other, but you were also close friends with my then girlfriend, now wife. You know what I mean? Like anyway, Paco's the homie. What's up, Paco?
Man, thanks for having me, guys. It's good to be on here. As always, every time I see y'all, it's a good time. You know, it's my first time on here, but hopefully it transitions to bring the good times on here like we usually have them in person. So let's do this.
Well, we've always talked about having like other pods too, and like I know Alan and you were talking about y'all were all talking about sports betting because that's something y'all both have in common and both enjoy. So we might have to get back to that here when we get into the docket. But Chance, what were we saying right before we did the intro? We're talking about 05 was like a hot summer.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. That was like when it got started. That was like when it got started. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's when like we kind of got into like adulthood. We was like what, 15 going on 16 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So like that's like, you know what I'm saying? Like after sophomore year, going into junior year, you know what I'm saying? Like being actually an upperclassman and shit like that. So that's when the shits got started.
That was a fun summer. We were talking about how I was in Mexico and I called you, and it was like $100 call because I was just outside of the American shit, like right there. You know what I mean? But Mexico used to be, those are the days. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. Thinking back on that time, I mean, that was when we got into social media.
MySpace.
You know what I'm saying? MySpace and shit, because we were actually okay. So funny story. I'm gonna try to keep names and shit out of it or whatever, just to give y'all a little backstory and shit. But there was this girl that Mike was interested in. That was like a family friend or whatever. So you know what I'm saying, family friend or whatever. He was interested in him, and we like used to chop it up on because this is like when everybody got like phones and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So we used to like chop it up with everybody and shit. Like on the phone though, either house phone or like cell phone. And like so we would be talking to this because me and Mike used to, since like fucking 6th grade, we used to just prank call motherfuckers all the time. We used to say the school directory was like our Bible. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we used to go like hard on that shit. You know what I mean? And
isn't that weird? They would just used to put all the numbers out.
We could get into all that shit, but
yeah.
So we got on. We were talking to this girl or whatever on 3-way, and like people used to get us mixed up for some reason. I guess our voices sounded the same or whatever. So like me, at times and shit. And so and we would like do this shit with like, hey, call this girl or whatever, you be me, you know what I'm saying? Like we used to do it, it was just, bounce off of each other and shit. But I was like laying back and shit. So let me get comfortable for this shit.
Yeah,
but yeah, so we were talking to this girl, right? We were talking to this girl and whatever. And she and she was like, hey, y'all should just get on MySpace or whatever. And we were like, what the fuck is MySpace and shit?
She really did.
What is that? And she was like, oh, just go to myspace.com or whatever. And like we on the phone. I remember I was at Ray Ray house. Ray Ray's a friend of the pod too. He ain't been on yet, but we gotta get Ray Ray on soon.
He'll be on.
We were at Ray Ray's crib. Oh, I was at Ray Ray's crib, and he had like fast internet and shit like that. Cause dude, I had dial up until 2007. You know what I mean? That's when I got like broadband. But
remember you said the AOL CD at Blockbuster?
That was the shit. You just get that and just get on AIM.
Nah, you get that shit in the mail. It's like 1,500 hours and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit up. But the AOL, yeah. But yes. And it was always after fucking like 12 o'clock because my mom would be on the house phone and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, so back to the story. So to get on MySpace, like, she was like, oh, what the fuck is MySpace? So me and Mike, we, remotely, just how are we doing now and shit, but on 3-way also on the phone. So we're like go to MySpace and we do our profiles and shit all that day, you know what I'm saying? And like we got into it from then on there, and that like started a whole fucking era. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it really did, man. Because it was just such a domino effect from there. Just like how many people we just kind of connected across both worlds.
Yeah. And it was weird because a lot of people like between schools and shit, like knew each other and shit like that already from elementary school, middle school, shit like that. So like we got like because I'll tell you a story. I'm trying not to say any names again. Quick little tidbit. But like I remember on MySpace, I was talking to this girl who was a best friend of this girl that later, so it was.
You can say the names; they know by now.
Like, weird, but that's just how things went. You was you realized that it was a smaller world than you thought. And we're really kind of seeing that in our age now. Like in our 30s and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like how small this fucking place is.
Small as fuck, man.
But yeah, continue with where you were going, Mike, with 05. That was like OG summer, man. Like
it was. Well, we were just talking offline, and we're like, the best conversations usually happen right before. You always forget to record.
For sure.
Anyway,
so, what's on the docket today, man?
Yeah,
we got a nice one.
We do. So we typically, there's a million different podcasts, videos about sports. So we really don't get into sports too much, even though we all love sports. But man, like, dude, all that's been happening in sports. Like, we got a lot of sports today, but it's all, society type shit, like Don't At Me usually is. First thing that I wanted to get to, Chance, I don't know if you saw this, but we did the video about the Washington Redskins. We took a clip, the Washington football team, formerly the Redskins, but we did a video. Here, I'll go ahead and screen share. We did a video. This was a clip from actually the last episode, episode 41. We were talking about Washington, D.C.'s new football identity. We were talking about the betting odds on the next name and kind of trying to understand if there was any symbolism behind it. And somebody actually put us on. Look, we actually got a comment here. We were talking about the Red Wolves being the favorite. And Alex Side Channel?
Shout out.
Red Wolves are special and are deserving to be the name due to the fact that only wolves completely endemic to the U.S. and the Southeast, making them the most American wolf. Their historic population used to reach to the Potomac River in D.C., but due to overpoaching, their numbers have drastically decreased to 18 individuals living in the wild. So along with it being a badass name, it is also very important for raising awareness for the endangered species. Also, it references the U.S. Navy combat squadron called the Red Wolves. Also, Red Wolves are represented in Native American, Algonquin culture as a symbol of loyalty, courage, strength, and success in hunting. So pretty cool. Put us on. I didn't know that.
Oh, shout out that nigga, friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod.
Bring him on.
At us.
Like for real, yeah. That's like our first real
Call him right now.
It really was.
Free merch, nigga. What's up?
Next guest.
Send him a
Let's
mask.
run it back. Bring it back.
Yeah.
Again.
Hey, shout him out again. What was his name?
Alex Side Channel on YouTube. I hope he wants people checking him out, or she. It's like trying to be very discreet. Now it's just like, all right. So what I really wanted to get into, the big thing with sports, obviously, now that it's been live, is dealing with the no fans aspect. I think going in, we were all kind of varying in what we were expecting. I don't think anybody really had a real understanding of what was going to happen. We hadn't seen anything like that before. Now, all of a sudden, we have basketball games with no fans. We've got baseball games with no fans. We've got baseball games with cutouts of fans. I just wanted to get into that, starting with baseball. How do you feel about the cutouts? How do you feel about the cardboard?
I love them.
You love them.
Nah, I want to buy. I want to get in on that shit.
Yeah. So for $100, you can get one at Minute Maid, and they put it in the Crawford box for you. So
hey, we doing that shit with the next bag, squad business.
Hey, you know what you could do? You know what you actually could do is if you got I wonder how much it would cost to be right behind home plate.
Oh, we there.
And they say send a pic. You send a pic with the
crispy boys there in the don't at me shit, nigga.
Hell yeah.
We gonna get headshots and all kind of shit.
I don't know how I feel about the cutouts, man. Like, I think it's weird with an empty stadium, but I mean, baseball's already kind of boring. So as jarring as it is, it's not like, I don't know. The
don't
cutouts
appreciate
make it.
You don't appreciate the sounds of baseball. I think if you grew up loving baseball and being around baseball, when you hear those sounds that you're usually not hearing because of the crowd, like, to be honest, have you seen the UFC fights? Maybe that's a little more relatable to you. Have you seen the UFC fights without any fans?
I
Dude,
grew up
those
watching
punches.
baseball, but the thing is, it's authentic crowd noise though. Like having it pumped out.
It sounds when something happens in baseball, it actually it's dope. You know what I'm saying? It's like
I watched the telecast with and without the fake crowd noise, and I like the fake crowd noise because it just sounds like, I don't know. It makes it. Otherwise, I feel like lonely and shit while I'm watching it. I'm like, I don't know. Like, it seems like, I'm like, man, this is getting like desolate.
Oh no, pipe that shit in for sure.
And I like the cardboard cutouts too. Like, what I've noticed, been watching a lot of baseball the last few days since it started, and like the crowd, the stadiums that just have the empty seats, it looks not as cool. But then when you fill them up, and it's colorful, it's variety. It's like. And the announcers have fun with it too, because like there'll be pictures of dudes like freaking out, like with angry faces or whatever, and like if there's a bad call, they'll like pan to them and be like, "Oh, the Dodgers fans are livid." And
what would be
sometimes they'll get knocked down by home runs and shit. Like it's a fun thing. It changes the scenery up. It looks a lot better than just plain green empty seats. Like for sure.
You know what I think it is though? it seems like the dimensions are weird. Like they seem like way wider than a normal person. Like my cutout would be like this. So like when you see it, it looks like how on, you know, like 2K, they'll do like the 360 panorama, like the old ones, but it'll show the same thing. Like the back of the head is still the head, like it's The Exorcist. That's what that shit looks like to me.
Nah, that's kind of dope because it kind of brings it to like video game-ish. It's kind of like we're playing video games. You know what I'm
Like
saying?
it's not supposed to look real. It's not supposed to like they're not saying like these look like real people. This is realistic.
I'm
It's
not
like
suggesting they
fun
put
thing.
wax figures. I'm just
It's a
saying.
funny thing.
With that or animatronics or some shit. Hey,
Hey,
Chuck
did
E.
y'all also
Cheese.
hear? Did y'all hear that at different stadiums, if you actually buy the cutout and you're in the outfield and the ball hits your cutout, they actually mail you the baseball.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like, y'all are selling
I'm
me.
with it. I'm with it. Hey, peep this though. So like what's dope and like what could come about that is like, all right, you know how we're saying it's kind of like video games and shit. You know how video games got progressively better and shit.
Yeah.
You know, like that those animations and shit got progressively better. So what if it like got to yes, graphics. My son's talking to me right here. But anyway, like how those got to like better and shit is like what if like you could get like upgrades and shit, like a screen, you know what I'm saying? Or like a live stream that actually like
That would be cool.
like that type of shit, like so it can, hey, that's $1 billion idea right
Some
there.
LED lights, some like
somebody, you know
color
what I'm
changing
saying?
stuff.
I don't doubt that they can really get creative with what they do. I just feel like you don't know what to expect. You learn from it. So I'm not saying I'm over it. Like they're done, they failed, but I don't know. Like it's gonna take getting used to for me. But I do like these little perks though. Like if it hits your cutout, they'll send you the ball. I like when the announcers kind of dive into it. It just seems a little bit strange, but I think I can come around. Gary, I wanted to shout out Gary since Gary joined the pod. Gary,
What's up, Gary?
where you
It's
at with your
good.
fans, man, on baseball? The cutouts, no cutouts.
So I noticed it early last week. It kind of threw me off, but I think it works. Specifically for baseball, there usually isn't, especially early on in the season, it works just because there usually isn't too much fanfare and crowd noise anyway. I mean, if you look at some ballparks, they're halfway empty anyway. So for now, it's working. So, I mean, come postseason, when you need that crowd and hype and home field advantage, that's when it plays a big part.
Yeah. On the baseball topic, is baseball like gonna exist anymore? I mean, the COVID outbreaks, the Marlins are basically sidelined. They played the Phillies. The Philly-Yankees series was canceled just out of, precaution. I mean, this is going to be a potential domino effect. I mean, what are you going to do if you have teams that have only played 40 games in a season and then 60 and then, then you have these other ramifications with, okay, I guess you're going to do winning percentage. But then, I mean, if somebody hits 450, like, is that the new record? Like, are people going to talk about that like Ted Williams? Like, it just keeps getting weirder and weirder and weirder. And, I mean, I was all in favor of baseball coming back. Now I'm like, man, it's really going to look – I never considered what if it starts and stops. I think it could really be bad for the future of baseball.
Yeah, I mean – in my opinion, I think it's crazy that they were just like, hey, let's just hop on a plane and fly from place to place all over the country when everybody else, MLS, NHL, NBA, they're all doing a bubble. They all have something different that they've done. And I mean, at least to my knowledge, I'm sure there's probably been some small changes, but overall it seems like the MLB hasn't made a major change like a bubble or, I mean, obviously they're traveling all over the country. That's pretty wild. We can't even get really on planes right now.
That's the wild part to me too.
Well, I mean, I think a big thing with baseball though is baseball's the only sport where every single night, every single game, you're playing in a completely different, randomly sized and shaped field, and that's part of the game. Like we have a short porch, like we have a massive field, and if you create a bubble, like if you put the bubble anywhere, you're basically taking away all of the advantages and disadvantages that teams have been structuring their roster for years. Like, oh, we have a short left field. We need guys that hit this way, that way, whatever. And if you put the bubble all in Tampa Bay or something, well, then it's like, I don't know. I think that's why baseball is traveling, because they need to keep that variation in their fields, because that's such a key component of the sport itself. It's like a huge part of it. So
I'm surprised they didn't try to say, all right, you're going to play your division. You know, a lot of the season is going to be you playing your division. Have first and second place, you know, make the playoffs. You have 6 teams. First 2 maybe get a bye. You know, maybe you do a 1-game playoff for both of those. You have 4 teams now, but you keep it within the division so you can do, you know, bus or whatever. So you don't have to do that. You know, I think there are like some strategies like that they could have curtailed the outbreak, but it just seemed like they waited until like a week or 2 before it happened. They're like, all right, let's just whatever, players figure it out. Come on, 60 games, let's just go. You know, like the negotiations. I mean, it was already on, you know, I feel like life support before. Now it's like, man, you got, and I mean, baseball is not to blame for the pandemic. What can you really do about that? But I don't know. It's crazy to me to see. It's understandable, but it's all wild. I don't know.
Yeah. I like the divisions. I like what you're saying about kind of breaking it down. The MLB is so big, and I think the biggest issue that they're going to face is, I mean, an NBA team has what, maybe 12, 15 guys on a roster. The MLB, I mean, you got 9 guys on the field. And I mean, how many pitching coaches, batting coaches, like BP coaches? They just got way too many people. And I never heard about somebody coming up with an idea of breaking it down to a division. But I mean, you might want to send that in. That sounds honestly quite promising to me, better than what they got going on right now for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, hey, let's have the Dodgers play the Yankees or something like, I mean, not that has happened, obviously, but if you're having crazy travel like that, it's just not feasible to get on a bus and do that all the time. Keep it closer to your division. Those are at least pretty regional, you know? But I don't know. Baseball, I will say they're trying to get a little bit creative. The extended playoff series idea, even though didn't go with the idea I pitched, they actually have a bigger playoff window than that. And I think it makes sense when you do have a condensed season, 60 games, have the playoffs so that people can just get a little bit more, you know, in a way you're proving your worth a little bit more, right? By winning in a deeper playoff bracket. What I think could be odd, though, is if you end up having 500 teams, you know, 30 and 30 or something like that. Like, it's going to kind of leak almost into, like, basketball territory, like in the East, where you could be a 35-win team and make the playoffs. So, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of odd, but I'm a fan of the extended playoff bracket.
me too.
Yeah, me too. I agree, man. I mean, I mean, the more playoffs, the better. I mean, to be honest, it depends what kind of fan you are. I mean, if you're just a betting man rooting for your team and not the underdog, then you probably don't want that many guys out there. But I mean, as a fan, I want to see as many playoff games as I possibly can. I want to see as many single elimination games as I possibly can. That's what I like to see.
I'm with it, man. And it's what was odd about this is they said hours before it was announced, they were convinced it was going to be playoffs as usual, you know, with the wild card play-in and then the 4 teams on each side, you know, so basically 10 total playoff teams. Then all of a sudden, hey, there's going to be 8 per league, so you've got 16 total.
Dude, with that shit being said, is like, y'all gonna have to tune into the conspiracy podcast to get in that, because I don't want to get too far off the docket and everything.
Bro,
I'm
put
to
it
keep it in the brackets and shit or whatever. But like, for real, look out for the conspiracy podcast probably like towards the end of the week. You know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna get into all this shit.
Topic number 1, MLB. Bro, and to be honest, all these players, they get to go home every night. So everybody is going to their family every night and then coming back into the field. It's wild.
Hey, how can you stop it?
They make a bubble.
Right. But they have to stay in that fucking bubble. It has to be regulated. You know? Like, you can't leave the bubble.
It's like going to
that's how
basketball
shit's
camp.
gonna go with coronavirus. But let's continue.
The sport that always just kind of seemed immune to all this for some reason, not because they actually were, but just kind of a bravado, was the NFL. Like, we're just gonna go business as usual. Nothing's gonna happen. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. They canceled the preseason, so that happened. And the players had to really fight for that. On top of that, you're starting to see a lot of players are starting to opt out of playing. So, I mean, all you have to do is go on any kind of NFL Twitter. I'll show you some tweets today. Basically, anywhere you look, hey, next guy up is sitting out the season. The Patriots had 6 players that opted out, including Dante Hightower. So that's just one of the big names, probably the biggest name. Texans had a guy sitting out too. It's just they're starting to stack up more and more and more. And I'll just show you right now. Ian Rappaport, I was checking out his Twitter earlier, and you can just see name after name after name. Got Dante Hightower sitting out the season. He makes a message to the team. I think he recently had a kid. So that's where his mind is at right now. I think
how much does this hurt?
The old Niners.
As a Patriots fan.
Huh?
As a Patriots fan, how much does that hurt? Is this a personal issue?
Oh, no. I'm the Brady fan. I'm still gonna root for.
Oh, okay. So you're a Brady. No more. So you're no more Pats fan. I'm just wondering.
I mean, I kind of want to root for Belichick, but I'm not. It's all Brady love. I mean, that's all it was.
You really figured out who Bay was?
Yeah.
So as a former fan, is that going to hurt him?
Huh?
As a former fan, is that going to make a big impact on him?
What's that?
These 6 players that are sitting out, or are these guys just garbage?
Oh, no. I mean, Hightower, and not a lot of these names are big names. I think if you were to see a superstar sit out, that's huge. But Marcus Cannon is another big name. The big-ish. That's probably the second biggest name. So, again, it's not a big name. But if you see a big player sit out, I think that'll grab some news. But it's just the sheer volume. And I'm wondering, is a big name going to drop? Like, I wonder, is somebody like that going to say, you know what? I got to sit it out. I got to play it safe.
Yeah, earlier I noticed, I think even like Patrick Chung was one of them that just dropped also.
Yeah. Pat Chung, Dante Hightower. So, I mean, they had a lot of players on the pass. They're probably thinking too, like, man, Bill's going to work the shit out of us. Like, I'd rather not, let's just chill. But, I mean, it's understandable. The team, the NFL hasn't really put out any kind of protocol on how they're planning to keep players safe. The players are pissed that they had to wait this long for them to cancel the preseason that nobody really cares to watch anyway. I get that these players are sitting it out. I wanted to get y'all's feel because it's just I wonder what's going to happen if one of those big names drop. If one of those big names says, hey, I'm going to play it safe.
Yeah, one thing I think is interesting is like football, the football atmosphere, I think makes the biggest difference. So not having fans in the crowd is going to make it look pretty much like a preseason or scrimmage game all season. Like, that's going to be a weird dynamic. Even for NBA playoffs, like, that's just going to be weird. Like, imagine how much of that crowd hype and noise that actually even transfers through TVs. So a lot of times you feel that atmosphere. When you're sitting on your couch and watching the game, that volume's up, there's a difference. You feel the chanting.
Yeah, it's like when you go to the games and it's the playoffs and it's like, man, it don't matter where I sit. As long as I'm in the stadium, you can just feel it. You're in there, It's like a different feeling. So I totally understand on that. I can't imagine these football players getting hyped to pretty much run their helmets into each other with nobody cheering them on.
Well, it's crazy, too, because you feed off of that. Anytime you go to a big game, I mean, Texans games regularly would sell out, and they're loud fans. So, I mean, you're around 80,000 people just screaming top of their lungs. It's kind of exhausting. I mean, you kind of get into it and just kind of, bang on the seat or, first, you get sucked into it because some obnoxious person's going to be beer breath in your face until you're like, whatever, get out of my face. But it's just, you're right. I mean, there's so much energy that just pushes off. And what I'm curious about, I think that some players kind of have a little bit of choke gene in them. And I mean, they're not like the obvious chokes. They're the ones that just kind of don't really show up. They might, be a little bit short on their jump shot at the end, or, just you're like, they're not quite a choke, but I feel like I have a hunch they're kind of a choke. Now
Gotta
those
shake
players are
legs.
immune to it because there's not going to be any kind of a fan pressure. There's not going to be any kind of it's just silent. You're not going to have other people in the stands like reporters or other teams of other players, other teams be making noise. They're not going to have like strong rooting interests. And then on the flip side, though, I do think that there are some players that kind of feed off of that energy. They play up to that, and it kind of in a way helps them. Like Steph's not in the tournament, or he's not in the restart, but he's a player that would come to mind. Somebody that seems to kind of live off the crowd, and it's like as the crowd is getting louder and more energetic, he's making more of his shots. I think they lose out on that now. Players like that kind of feed off of a crowd. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, if there's any kind of a noticeable effect on either of those things, or if it's just kind of a net zero.
Which is why I think that actually benefits the Texans, or I should say the Rockets. Like a guy like James Harden isn't necessarily like a choke, but him not having to feed off of like the booing may help. Plus they actually had a pretty good break. Him and Russell Westbrook having fresh legs could help. So we'll see.
And Eric Gordon healthy, never like those three have never been healthy. All like I'm very hype on the Rockets, like very.
Especially because it seemed like right when the league was starting to kind of figure out the small ball thing, like 2 games they lose, right, pretty bad, and then the league shuts down. And I feel like this new style, and I've seen it so far in the scrimmages from my eyes, and again, it's scrimmage, so it's a little bit more loosey-goosey anyway, but I feel like these games are going to play more like street ball. Not like type, maybe. But I think it's going to just be more a little bit loose, a little bit more just kind of freestyle, whatever. I don't think it's going to be that organized offense as much as you would usually see.
I do think people are going to be like, guys are going to be so locked in because they're just in that bubble 24/7. I feel like even as soon as the season starts, I feel like it's going to feel like playoff intensity. I feel like it might be kind of like, maybe looser, like game plan wise, but I think because the guys are doing nothing but just in there, like hooping, and it's already teams that are, the 8 worst teams have been eliminated and aren't participating. So everybody is still alive. I feel like the intensity is going to be like playoff wise right off the jump. And I'm hyped for the Rockets because we're just healthy. The break couldn't have came at a better time for us, really.
Yeah, and I mean with Russ and then maybe Harden, I heard he had COVID, but nobody ever seemed to confirm it, so I don't know either way. But I almost kind of feel like you want to get it out of the way, right? Like, hey, just in case you have a bad case, like, hey, get it out of the way before the season even starts, So,
Sure.
I mean, if you're in the finals and then it's like LeBron gets it, it's like, oh shit, I kind of have like a sore, I shouldn't play. Or I mean, you're already quarantined, right? Like, they're going to quarantine players that get it. So, I mean, you don't have any reason to believe that somebody will get it while they're in the bubble because they've been very secure, unless you're Lou Williams. But, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Speaking of Lou Williams, did y'all see y'all of course heard about the Magic City trip, right?
Right.
Yeah,
he was just getting some food, man.
What's up on the scandal, though? Like, he didn't from what I read, it seemed like he just picking up a to-go order and heading out. At least that's what he said. But it's like
totally possible because
talking about.
They have a good kitchen there from what I hear or whatever. So and then it was some rapper posted video or posted to his story, and
he deleted it though.
So
he tried to say it was from last year. He's like, nah, never mind, that was from last year.
But they had the masks that the bubble gave out.
Yeah. So stupid. But also it's like that guy, fuck that guy, man. You gotta think about that shit,
sneak snitching.
Yeah, man.
Dude,
His
so
name's Jack
are
Harlow,
the lemon pepper wings they're really named after Lou Williams, because that is also what I heard. And even Paul Pierce brought it up on ESPN, and he was like, hey man, if you're Lou Williams eating the Lou Williams lemon pepper wings, he was like, you don't get those to go. You go inside and you eat those wings inside of Magic City. So I think he was inside.
Has anybody had those wings is my question. I haven't been to Magic City. I've been to Atlanta one time.
Yelp review right now. I'm going to it now.
Yelp review. Yeah, get the wings Yelp review. Let's see what it's about.
All right.
Yeah, what do you think? You think there was any foul play, or you think he was just in and out?
I definitely think there was foul play. I mean, like Paul Pierce said, there's no way you go just for the wings, especially if you have that notoriety in Magic City. That's pretty much his stomping ground. So, but I would say like I heard like the catfish nuggets, the wings, tenders, all that stuff is fire. So let's see.
Hey,
5 stars only.
Gerry,
What's good?
where the fuck are you? Why you not on my screen?
Oh really?
Huh?
I don't know.
For some reason, Gary's not showing up on my screen. Hold on, I'll try to fix it.
Showing on
Man. That's
mine.
all I had to ask. I was like, why is Gerry?
Nah, it's good. We're good.
It's just,
Lemon
yeah.
pepper wings. Perkins tried to call him out too. He said, admittedly, you know, those wings are fire, but come on now. And he was comparing him to Zion, saying that Zion was showing more maturity. Lou Williams didn't like that. He was tweeting back at him, but I don't know. I mean, people don't have anything to talk about, so that's what they want to talk about. But I don't know. I feel like sure, maybe you go in and out, but like you're at least gonna stare at some titties for a little bit. I feel like that's what you're going there for. Like, you know, that's I don't know. I feel like you're gonna stand there for a minute, right?
All right, bro. So listen to this. I looked up the menu at the Magic City Kitchen, and they got the Louwill Lemon Pepper barbecue wings on the menu. So he was there to get his own wings. I mean, I feel like the man deserved it. I mean, he could have Uber Eats, but I mean, those are his name's on the menu. He's got to be there.
So I'll pull it up now. Do you think Louwill? There it is, right there. Do you think that that this was the name before, or do you think this has since been updated? Did they prove that
No way, dude. No way. It was definitely before.
Yeah.
They didn't just do that.
I'm
So
reading this
how's-
article.
So then my question is then how is he going to say that he didn't go there then to kind of, you know, peep his wings and chill for a while? Alan, do you really think he was just in and out or nah?
I don't know. I'm not gonna comment when I don't know the facts. You know?
Like,
No, but I mean, like it's like obviously like he fucked up the bubble. Like he is not excusable. Like, you know, like the other guy is a dick for posting the shit, but also Louwill is a dick for going to Magic City. And he should, if they didn't allow him to play for this season, like I think that would be totally reasonable. Like you have to take the bubble seriously, or else you're gonna be nobody's gonna get to play, and it fucks the money up for everyone. Like it fucks the whole season up. So you can't have dudes like, oh well, it's okay, and now we'll give them a quarantine, and like, because then everybody's gonna start slipping. Especially if you lose 2 or 3 games, you're gonna be like, fuck bubble life. Like we're not doing shit. We're the Blazers or whatever. You know what I mean? You know, Melo will probably be like, Louwill, let's go. Like, I mean, so yeah, you got to respect the bubble. And Louwill, he perforated the bubble, and if he doesn't play anymore the rest of the season, I feel like that's totally fine. I feel like if they can do something and like make sure he's healthy, like okay, like, but I could see them not letting him play, and I think that would be okay because like you can't fuck up the bubble, like.
I'm with it too because he's not on the Rockets. I feel you there, Alan.
yeah. Hey, all right.
If Harden leaves,
my piece on the bubble is you're right. You absolutely right, Alan. Like we gotta shit gotta get real. You know what I'm saying? It has to be taken seriously.
right? If you don't take it seriously, what's the point?
If coronavirus is gonna be a problem for the game and for, you know what I'm saying, like motherfuckers gotta take off and all that shit like that. If that's gonna be a problem, you have to stay in that fucking bubble. You have to like really that's where all the fines and shit. Because I mean, they give them everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like
there's
going
no
to
reason.
school. It's literally like going to school. I mean, like you gotta think these people are getting paid to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? They work for that company. Like that's like you working in that building. You know what I'm saying? On that campus or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta stay on that campus or whatever. You know, you have your freedoms or whatnot. You know, but I feel like that has to be like earned. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to like kind of show that okay, you can have a visitor and shit like that. It has to go back to like college. Like you gotta think all these guys are young and shit like that. It's just an extension of fucking college. Like, yeah, you're a grown-ass man, but you work for this company. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got to respect how this is going because this is a pandemic going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, we in this bubble for a reason. It's Sandy's house. Sandy
You got to
can't just
make an example out of him.
What you say?
So they got to make an example out of him for anybody else to make it seriously, whether it be in this league or the next league. But I mean, everything you're saying is absolutely right, both of y'all. But I think that like they got to make an example out of him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Full disclosure.
Or
this is coming from 4 Rockets fans and a Lakers fan. So it's in all of our best interest that Lou Williams is not there anymore.
Did y'all really think the Rockets got a chance?
It's
I mean, I think
being in
the
bubble is a possibility.
the street ball style, you're always gonna have a puncher's chance, especially when you got Harden and Westbrook.
But bitch, you gonna get fined out the ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like nigga, let's get serious about this shit because so we can enjoy this shit. So y'all can get the bag. You know what I'm saying? Because
Exactly.
what good is it doing if you gotta fucking sit home and go home? That's like getting suspended and shit from school. That's the dumbest shit in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Because MLB players ain't getting their full bag. It's already half cut. And then NFL, dude, you already know how the NFL is. They're not cutting no checks. If anything, they're like, yeah, make the season shorter.
So if it's gonna be like that, you gotta lay down rules and regulations. You know what I'm saying? It has to be a campus lifestyle. You gotta be locked down there. Seriously. Or like, nigga, you're not gonna play. Load management. That's how you handle load management. Like, bitch, all right, you don't wanna play? Fuck up.
No play, no pay. That's
I
what
will
they gotta
say this
do.
though, the NBA Bubble Life Twitter. Have y'all seen that? Chance put us on actually.
That right there is fucking genius. That's some genius fucking shit.
That is a good feed.
Yeah, y'all gotta understand. Remember what I was saying? Remember what I was saying? Like when this shit kind of started. Like I don't even know if that podcast actually got put out. Yeah. Matter of fact, that was going back to a podcast that you guys have never even seen. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's still like recorded somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But when this pandemic started, like I was like, yo, this is it, guys. Like this is how it's gonna be, you know, in a nutshell. And you know, everything is adapting for like the real. You know, you got shit like Bubble Life and shit like this is fucking fun. This is fun. We're making our lives fun. We finally getting it. You know what I'm saying?
One dude posted.
We're finally coming around. People are like being okay with this shit.
Bro, honestly, I've been really, I don't know if y'all watched JaVale's show and then some other guy from the 76ers. They got the YouTube blogs, man. Those are pretty funny and they're good. I love to see it. And it's just great. I remember when I was growing up, and I mean, we're all from the same time. I'm sure y'all thought the same thing. Growing up, I was always like, man, I wonder what Michael Jordan's doing right now. I wonder what Kobe Bryant's doing right now. And it's so crazy that you could like see it now. It's like, it's Twitter or Instagram, whatever.
Yeah, and that shit should be like all public figures. Their lives, like, I mean, it's already pretty public, but it should be like extra public. You know what I'm saying? Because these people are creeps behind the scenes, you know, like most of them are, you know what I'm saying? So like that nigga, like that shit should be documented and shit, you know, if that's because that's how life is right now. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's like that with themselves. And if you're making money off of it, I'm spending money on you and shit, I should be able to know what the fuck you doing every fucking day.
24/7.
In a way, in some type of way, you know what I'm saying? Not to any extreme, but in some type of way.
These wings look fire though.
Little, like kind of part in the middle of your beard, like box it out a little bit more, and like put a bandana on and kind of back up, and we'll just front like we got LeBron on the pod. I dig the beard though. That's why I'm jealous of the beard. But I feel like for a minute I was like, oh shit, we got LeBron on this bitch. But we're talking a lot about sports. I do still have one last sports comment. Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. The boxing match coming back. Where are y'all at on this? Mike Tyson and Roy Jones.
I think somebody's about to get knocked out. They're way too old.
Like for life.
I think it's kind of sad, man. Like,
Hey,
I'm
I
not
didn't
gonna
even
watch
see
that shit, man.
See,
Like,
this is why y'all know how like I hate texting and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't be like telling shit, bro. As soon as that shit came down, as soon as I heard that shit, I was like, I called my nigga Chris in LA and shit. I was like, yo, nigga, September fucking 11th, I'm gonna be in fucking LA, and we're driving on September 12th to Vegas. I'm being in Vegas, nigga, for the fight. I'm not even going, but I'm gonna be in Vegas. I already got the shit situated. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I kind of want to disclose that to the pod to let everybody know because I'm kind of a public figure. So,
So you're just gonna be hanging out like a quarantine Vegas?
yeah, I'm gonna go see how it is, man. We gotta get out there. We gotta stop bullshitting. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm going to a quarantine Vegas. My sister went to LA 2 weekends ago. She was everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, we have to take precautions and everything because, like, you know, like in some way, in some type of percentage, whether you believe shit or not, you know what I'm saying? Like COVID-19, coronavirus, it is real. It is a real thing. You know what I'm saying? But so everybody take their precautions. But at the same time, man, we gotta adjust. We gotta live our lives. You know what I'm saying?
Where are y'all at with the fight though?
Oh, nigga, Tyson! I already got money on Tyson.
Well, like to me, the way I see it.
No.
What was that?
I said, isn't it a big weight mismatch? I remember Roy Jones.
Yeah.
Don't matter. It's like celebrity boxing, bro. Like they training for each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I guess old is more of old is kind of a weight class. I think
Yeah.
but you only other old guy is down to fight you. Like, make it work.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, what was who did
Right.
Sticky Fingers fight back in like 9-8?
Who?
Sticky Fingers.
He
Who did that
fought.
nigga? Look up Sticky Fingers celebrity boxing, bro.
I
I remember this.
Was it like an actual
It was on
boxer?
MTV. It was on MTV, bro. They used to have this shit all the time. Like Mills Lane was like the ref and shit like that.
Sun in Woodstock.
Yeah, celebrity deathmatch. That's what I'm thinking.
What was that, like claymation?
Huh?
Nah.
He's talking about Sticky Fingers. I see it.
Sticky Fingers. They're from
I see
Onyx.
Dick.
Simon Wood. Yo, yeah, this is it, bro. They used to have
No
this shit
wonder
on-
nobody was
What?
reacting. Oh shit! I'm gonna have to edit
Tanya Harding was on this shit, dude. This was a dope show. Like they
this.
should have been
Unedited.
this shit.
So let's just kind of color call this
Let's
one.
call this shit. Yeah, let's call it commentary. I'm gonna be JR from fucking wrestling and shit. All right, we got Sticky Fingers. He's the black guy. Oh my god, you see him, Mike? Okay, look at this. All right, this nigga got the black trunks on, and this other nigga, some Woodstock nigga. This nigga, he's the white nigga in the blue.
Is that Steve Wilkos?
Yeah.
Oh,
They got
hell
Steve
yeah.
Wilkos as the color
Hell
guy,
bro.
and this is such shit quality. I doubt YouTube will block it.
Nah, yeah, we good on that. All right, yeah, let's run this shit. All right, the bell rings, I think. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, niggas. Ding, ding. Yeah, bitch. All right, here we go. All right. Fucking
Woodstock
Woodstock
coming in
with the
swinging.
left. What's that with the left? Tear that ass up. Oh, okay, we got, Sticky Finger shot to the nigga in the headlock. All right, Sticky Finger, he's trying to slam this nigga.
Yeah.
Yo, all right, Sticky Finger's a dirty nigga, all right?
Hey,
all right.
but he's
He
getting
look like he's trying to do
words.
MMA.
All right,
Him
white
in the
nigga
road.
throwing hands. White nigga throwing hands. Yo, Sticky Finger's a dirty, grimy nigga. All right, so he boxed like a dirty, grimy nigga. White nigga got form. He trained for this shit. All right, let's see. All right, okay. All right, they up. All right, they just kind of throwing. I can't really tell. Shit, this is like 9-8 quality, y'all. Like this shit is trash. Like even, you know what I'm saying? This is like that box TV shit. All right, let's see.
Woodstock's definitely got the better conditioning.
Nah, for shit show, he trained for this shit. Sticky Fingers like, I'm just gonna go out there and bust his ass, B. You know what I'm saying? But he's not. He's getting his ass busted right now. All right, let's see. Round 2. We in round 2 already?
Yo, wait, Floyd
You
Mayweather's
cut him
gonna
off
fight
balance
this
for a
year?
second.
All right. Round 2's ass, bro. Round 2's ass. Let's go on. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Round 2. Sticky fingers still getting work. It seems like we halfway through this shit.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, all right. All right. Sticky grounded. Oh, Sticky worked him. He rope or doped him. All right. Sticky a real nigga. You know what I'm saying? Cookie. I got him, son.
Oh, he caught that straight.
Sticky eating them hoes, though. Oh, he getting rocked, but he eating them hoes. All right. White dude murking this nigga, though. Y'all gotta watch this shit, son.
Yo,
Gotta watch Big
Woodstock
Steve.
whooping him.
Huh? Yo, Woodstock whooping ass. All right, that nigga just hit him with a mean ass left. All right, round over, son. Round over.
You know,
Steve
Sticky Fingers right now probably looks like the episode of Martin. Look, he come out swinging.
All right. Oh, let's see.
Ah, look, he's
All
playing
right,
like he got hurt.
Let's see. All right.
Round
Hey, call
3.
it. Finish the call, Mike.
Oh,
I'm getting too excited. These niggas whooping ass.
Steve will whoop both of them though.
Oh, shit, show. Oh, hey, I think white nigga got it, bro.
Sticky's
Woodstock
got to
got
get
it.
out of there.
Woodstock got it, bro. Like, if I'm calling this fight as a decision, Woodstock got this shit. Whoop Sticky Fingers ass. You know what
Bro,
I'm
I
saying?
can't really tell what's happening,
Yo,
to be
see,
honest.
this is what TV
Are
was
they at
the
an
shit.
outdoor ring?
Probably.
You can't even
Yo,
tell.
like
See,
in a
look, dude,
field somewhere.
MTV had the best content. All me and Mike used to do was, nigga, watch MTV, talk on the phone, drink Cokes and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like remote and shit, whatever. Like we used to watch shit like this, Celebrity Deathmatch, Beavis and Butthead, whatever. They had the best content.
They used to have good shit. Look,
MTV in the back in the day was tight.
man,
Hey, who got the decision in that shit?
it didn't say, but come on.
Yo,
I think at the end of the day, we all know. we know.
Yo, who the fuck Woodstock is, nigga? You whoop Sticky Fingers. You a real nigga in my book.
I'm just trying to figure out what's Sticky Fingers' real name.
Kurt. It's Kurt.
Kurt.
It's Kurt.
Let me
Like
see.
Kurt Angle, but it's Kurt or Kirk or some shit. Like Kirkland,
Sticky
but without the
Fingers.
lands.
Kirk Jones.
Kirk Jones.
Debo is always whipping his ass too. All right. So I saw a topic. This is a complete 180 from sports.
Let's pivot.
But I did want to jump onto this because I was curious how y'all felt about this. And I'm afraid to even share it because even saying the name now gets you blocked on shit. So Twitter expects QAnon crackdown to affect 150,000 accounts across the network. So basically, you know, QAnon, this big conspiracy theory, all this shit going on, anti-government, yada, 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 but like hardcore right? Well, I guess the problem that with QAnon is that they'll harass people regularly, right? Like, I mean, if you're anti them, they just go after you and berate you to the point where you're just like, I'm just going to delete this shit. You know, I guess Twitter seems to think it's abusive. So Twitter is now basically putting out efforts to block that, you know, much like we saw with, was it Chris Jones? Is that the guy? The conspiracy theorist guy?
Alex Jones.
Chris Jones. Who's Chris Jones? Alex Jones. And I mean, sure, I get it, you know, in a lot of ways. Anytime somebody speaks out against certain groups, they get harassed and berated. I get part of that. You're trying to protect people. I'm all in favor of privacy and protecting people. But what I think is kind of weird, though, I mean, is this not censorship? And I don't know anything about this movement. I know that it's bad is all that I know about it. I can't tell you shit else about it. So it's not even pro any of these people, but you know, it's all about freedom of speech. Where do we draw the line between censorship and when we need to cut people off? You know, censorship and when we're allowed to let people speak freely.
Well,
They're making shit up, so
Yeah. So a lot of companies, So on Thursday, I believe it's like Facebook, Twitter, Google, and somebody and some other. It's like four of the major tech companies. They're actually going to be speaking, I believe, in front of Congress. So somebody really high up in front of government, you know. And a lot of the backlash that they're facing is that they're allowing people to present a lot of false information. Um, and it is, and I think that not even the government knows at the moment. They're really trying to figure out what that gray area is. They're trying to define it, because at the same time, many people feel like, hey, companies like Facebook and Twitter are not doing anything to prevent the spread of misinformation and fake news all over the internet, whether it be good or bad. You know, it's fake. And so the government is having an issue with that now. And one of the things, I don't know if y'all saw today, that actually Twitter banned Donald Trump Jr. for 12 hours today for actually sharing a fake news video. And it's getting very serious. That, I mean, really,
Yeah.
on I think it's tomorrow or Thursday, the four major tech companies are going to be speaking, I believe, like I said, in front of Congress, and it's specifically this topic. So it'll be like very interesting to see what kind of develops in the next couple of days with security.
In front of who?
In front of Congress, or in front of like somebody in government, like dude, I'm not sure who it is. You know, it's one of them chambers. You know. But it's gonna be like on TV, and it's gonna be on C-SPAN. It's a pretty big deal, because Facebook even delayed like their earnings. So y'all should definitely. I mean, there's gonna be some good information that comes from that, because they're really getting some like scrutinized for not doing any preventative measures to this false information. You know.
Yeah, I would definitely like to hear about this.
Chance clearly beating around the bush. He'll get into why here in a second. On that note, I mean, I did see, you know, of course, that's kind of the big reason why the whole Facebook, you know, boycott, you know, a lot of people are cutting out their spend to Facebook, you know, to kind of stick it to the man. What I always thought seemed to be kind of a simple solution to all this, and I completely understand, and I'm very anti-fake news, because people will pick something up and then that's the law, you know, black and white, there's absolutes, there's nothing in between. And I think that's the problem with almost everything that we have in this country stems from these absolutes, right? We more often operate in gray, but everything always seems to be black and white, at least in people's minds. What I always seem to feel like was in
more ways than one.
Yeah, exactly. What I always feel like was a simple solution to something like this is, anytime you're going to share news, you have to share it from a reputable source. Maybe the social networks go and they vet, okay, these are websites that we feel are reputable, right? Or at least they're middle enough. You know, I know that that's impossible nowadays, but at least it's not false, right? You might have facts with a certain editorial angle, but at least you've got facts. I think that's one way. Okay, if you're going to share news, that you have to prove it with the source now. If you're just going to say something, then people get into should get in the habit of, okay, unless you can quote this with something that's BS, or it's not, you know, it's not certified, it's not real, it hasn't been, you know, branded as fact. I think the only question you get run into is, you know, once they start blocking certain networks, which I mean we're seeing now, you know, if any of those seem to be out of bounds or seem to be, okay, that doesn't seem to be one way leaning, but they're trying to be selective with who they let in, you know, bitch about that. But at least then you don't have to worry about this problem with fake news and now making all these, you know, laws. Like it would never have been a problem if people thought about this a little bit more ahead of time.
Yeah, but at the same time, we've never been in this situation before, and I think the difficulty that we face is obviously there's a lot of division in America, obviously, when it comes to our financials. So it makes it really hard even for a company to say, for example, who's going to get the approval, perhaps depending on who's the president at the time. Right now, probably CNN wouldn't get an approval to be considered real news because our president calls it fake news, you know? So imagine all those small companies or all those local news that are really struggling right now. Like, who's going to really vouch for them to be able to stay alive? And even though they are providing good news, like, it's kind of like a difficult situation, kind of like on Facebook, you know, like a lot of big companies are dropping out of working with Facebook, but at the same time, Facebook's not seeing that much of a it's not really hurting them that much because the advertisement really comes from companies that are local companies. Those are the people that can afford Facebook and Instagram advertising.
Yeah, no, I was saying, yeah, I agree 100% on the local part because they're the ones that can actually get bang for their buck. It's not Google where you have to spend thousands to even show up. And I mean, I get, like I said, it's impossible to say which ones are one way leaning or not since they all have a lean. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find one source that doesn't have a bias. But I mean, I feel like there should be just, how do I say this? Somebody help me out while I'm trying to gather my thought.
Standardization,
yeah, more of I think the medium isn't necessarily the problem. The social network, I think it's more the source of the news that's getting fed in because so much of it is speculation. And I think, maybe the medium kind of morphed us into these instant gratification parasites that we are now. But I mean, news, the reason I don't even watch ESPN anymore is they don't show highlights. They don't cover the news for sports. All they do is talk speculation. Every news channel you go to is all about speculation. I think it's more, I mean, it's a bigger problem for sure. It's a bigger problem of.
I think the problem is nobody reads articles. Like nobody's down to read anymore. Like nobody wants to.
That's the only way I get news.
Like I don't mean like read as opposed to like watch TV. I mean like actually like not just scroll past something, but like let's click this link and read a fucking article. Like and
it's the clickbait headline.
Yeah, and like I don't even like have Facebook anymore. Like I don't have it on my phone. Like I barely like go on Instagram. I don't go on Reddit anymore. Like, but I'm subscribed to New York Times, LA Times, Chronicle. Like I'm on like news sites. I read a lot. And I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of what's going on in the world. And I'll read from different sources and everything. And I just feel like more people should just do that and stop, like, yeah, like those are called social media for a reason because it's not called news. Like it's, people can make an account on there, but anybody can do that. You know what I mean? Like, so if you haven't read an article or ingested news that wasn't via a social media platform in the last 6 months, you're not informed and you're ignorant because you literally are only getting what has been produced to fit into an algorithm to like make sure that you just keep scrolling and it's literally like a dopamine thing in your head and you just want it more and more and more and you're never going to actually read and find out what's going on about anything. But yeah, anyway, that's my bit on news.
There are a lot of different ways to try to approach it, right? And there are a lot of different challenges and complications with it. It just seems ridiculous that we live in a world where people are believing fake news and like, basing their lives around it. It's more of like the world's problem than the social network's problem.
Right. But, well, the social networks, I mean, they're making like, they don't care. Like, it's not their responsibility. I mean, that's the thing is like, that's the big question, right? Is it their responsibility? And it's like, kinda, right? Like, even if it's not their responsibility, it's like, if these tools are going to be out there and everybody has Twitter and everybody has Facebook and somebody needs to take responsibility. And that's why you have to get QAnon and stuff like that off there, because if you can get 5,000 people to believe any crazy thing, it's a problem for the greater good and the greater public and health of like, that's, like 5,000 people. That's not in the scheme of a country of 350 million. It's like, okay, like, yeah, that's not maybe going to change an election. It could or something if they are bad actors in a certain way, but you get 5,000 nut jobs to show up in one place, and that's how you get Charlottesville, and that's how you get like these, it only takes one guy to drive a car into a crowd of people. If you can get 500 people to buy into this one nut job thing, then you can like real terror can happen. And that's why it's not censorship. It's like straight up when they are spreading false shit, and it's just like literally, you know, the subject matter is getting these people to buy into these crazy ideologies is based on false things or false science. Like that's when, yeah, somebody's got to step in, and because it's for the greater good of the country and the world, really.
Well said.
Yeah.
All right, so that pretty much wraps up everything on the docket. So we'll wrap up the episode here. We're gonna have a bonus episode afterwards. But if you guys haven't already, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Check us out on social media on Twitter at the Rep Network and on Instagram at the Rep Network. Check out the website. We added a lot of new stuff, a lot of merch, updated all these kind of pages. The website is therep.network. Enter that into your browser, hit go, check out all the new stuff we've got, and make sure you spread the word. Help us grow. Subscribe across the board, share with your friends and family, and tune in next week.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, that was a good one.